So the chicken has come home to roost for Nasir El-Rufai. It be like say kata kata don boss. On February the 13th and the 14th, he was on his way back from the airport in Cairo. He was at Namdi Azikiwe International Airport where he was accosted by security agencies saying that he needed to come with them. He said, "Sure, I'll come with you. Let me see your invitation." He claimed that they refused to give him an invitation. So he said, "Once I get an invitation, I will come in for questioning." Well, he was taken in by the EFCC by with alleged charges of over 400 billion naira worth of fraud when he was governor of Kaduna State. So upon him um, being released from EFCC custody, DSS now took him on because he granted an interview stating that he was accosted at the airport and narrated his ordeal with the security agencies at the airport. Then he now said that Nihu Ribadu, the NSA director, actually had smuggled in some illicit substance that is odorless and is also carcinogenic that can unalive people. So he said that he brought that into the country. How did he know that? Well, we tapped his phone. The journalist asked him, "Do you realize that what you have said to me is illegal?" Tapping somebody else's phone. He said, "Well, I know somebody who tapped it and they told me." And he also said that that was how he knew that they were after him. Now, this is an interesting conundrum that he finds himself in because after he was released from EFCC custody, he was now accosted by DSS. And they are saying that, look, we are taking you in because of, um, cyberbullying and cyber stalking and various digital laws that he broke. So now he's in that custody having to answer for his alleged crimes. See, Nasir El Rufai, right now, it's like the bubble is about to burst on his facade. Because one thing about El Rufai is that he's a very intelligent, astute individual and he is full of charisma. But there are so many skeletons in that closet that are about to burst wide open. Let's talk about it. Malam Nasir El-Rufai was born in February 16, 1960, to Fulani parents in Katsina State. He attended Barewa Secondary School and graduated in 1976 and attended Ahmadu Bello University Zaria with a bachelor's degree as a quantity surveyor. In 1984-85, he received an MBA and a degree in computer science. Over the years, he attended various postgraduate programs globally. Malam Nasir El Rufai began his career as a quantity surveyor and principal partner of El Rufai and Partners with offices in Lagos, Kaduna, and Abuja. When President Obasanjo became the president of Nigeria in 1999, he appointed El Rufai to become the director of the Bureau of Public Enterprise. During Obasanjo's second tenure, he became the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory from 2003 to 2007. During his tenure, he demolished so many buildings, talking about trying to, map out the land of FCT that caused tears across the region. It is rumored that he makes what Yensum Wike is doing look like child's play. After his tenure as FCT Minister, he supported Buhari to become the president of Nigeria and was one of the founding members of the All Progressives Congress. During the tenure of Goodluck Jonathan, El Rufai left PDP and joined the All Progressive Congress. After Buhari became president, he ran for governor of Kaduna State, and because during that period he had an uprise of youth support for his candidacy. As the governor of Kaduna State, there was immense discrimination on the people of Kaduna State, and there was constant unrest. Journalists such as Shegun Nibinyo and Stephen Kefas and many others have been persecuted by El-Rufai. Many of them are traumatized and are fugitives till date. His former political advisor, Ben Kure, who served in his administration, expressed regret and said,
"It is highly regrettable because he was lauded to us as a nationalist. But what we saw of Malam Nasir El-Rufai under the 8 years of leadership in Kaduna State is nothing but politics of exclusion, politics of discrimination, and the politics of divide and rule. Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai thrives in crisis. When he joins heads, that is when he thrives. So he used religion, he used other means through religion and tribes and sentiments to knock the head so that he can have his way through.
after his tenure as governor, he supported the current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become the president of Nigeria. He was promised a portfolio as the Minister of Power and Gas. During his confirmation, it was scuttled due to security concerns by the National Security Advisor. These are the following concerns they had. He was considered a diplomatic liability to Nigeria because on Thursday, February the 7th, 2019, Malam Nasir El-Rufai threatened the European Union observers.
Those that are calling for anyone to come and intervene in Nigeria, we are waiting for the person that will come and intervene. They will go back in body bags. Okay. Because nobody will come to Nigeria and tell us how to run our country. We've got that independence.
Thirdly, Nasir El-Rufai's government was indicted in the Zaria Shiite massacre on Saturday, December 12, 2015, where 438 Shiite men, women, children, and infants were slaughtered in one of Africa's worst human rights violations. He is also known to have demolished all the houses of his political opponents. However, I think it's because he told the press that he can never support a drug baron. The executive governor of Kaduna State cannot run with such a person. I guess he was tipped that Tinubu may request for him to be a running mate in the 2023 elections. And this was when he came to Lagos State for a visit, and of course, he had a press run. Ever since he was not confirmed to become the Minister of Power and Gas, he had a vendetta against his adversaries. So he highlighted some of his grievances in an interview, and he was able to talk about it and air it out in early 2025.
I am a founding member of the APC, and I'm still a member of the APC. But I have concerns about how the party is being run or not being run at all, and I've expressed those concerns. I've expressed those concerns because I feel that, like a father who has given birth to a child, I know the investment and efforts and the compromises we had to strike to create what is now known as the APC, and how many people sacrificed a lot to ensure that it was an internally democratic party with progressive ideals. And 2 years after the election of President Tinubu, the party, none of the party organs is functioning. The progressive ideals, in my view, are not being pursued with any vigor. And the very high expectations we had of the president to take this country to the next level based on his track record in Lagos is somehow not materializing. Not about personal interest. Now I'm a private citizen, okay? Now I'm not sure I will be in the APC in 2027. So I cannot answer that question. As a private citizen, I can afford to be reckless and say, you know what? We gave the Southerners their chance. They gave us Tinubu. Has he done well? If he hasn't done well by 2027, let's vote him out.
And initially, I kept hearing, oh, El Rufai and Peter Obi, El Rufai and Peter Obi. I had my reservations about that. I said if El Rufai is attached to Peter Obi may lose a lot of supporters. But what do I know? I just knew that anytime El Rufai wants to make a significant decision like this, he goes to the media, he makes that decision, and he tries to align himself with people that others might like so that he can gain some political relevance. Well, recently, security operatives wanted to arrest El Rufai at the airport February 13th when he was returning from Cairo to Abuja at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. According to him, they wanted to take him for questioning, and he said, "Sure, I will come. Where's the letter of invitation?" He said, "You can't just come to me because I know the law." Well, they said they didn't have the invitation letter, so he said, "Well, I'm not coming with you." And this caused a public ruckus, so he was able to get through the security operatives. He was eventually he was eventually questioned by the EFCC concerning alleged fraud of an amount up to 432 billion naira. Upon that release, he had a conversation with a journalist stating that Nihu Ribadu wanted him abducted.
Subsequently, we found out that it was the ICPC that procured the DSS to abduct me and then hand over to them. And this is a modus operandi of the ICPC that increasingly has become a personal tool of Nuhu Ribadu. Nuhu made the call and made the order that I must be in custody yesterday.
How do you know he made the call?
He made the call because we listened to their calls. The government thinks that they're the only ones that listen to calls, but we also have our ways. He made the call, he gave the order. And
so you tapped his phone calls, did you?
Someone tapped his phone and told me.
Because that technically is illegal.
I know, but the government does it all the time. They listen to our calls all the time without a court order. But someone tapped his phone and told us that he gave the order.
And he said that Nihu Ribadu smuggled in an odorless, dangerous substance into the country. The journalist asked him, "How do you know all this information?" He said, "Well, I know some people that tapped his phone and they told me, so that's how I know." The journalist asked him, "You know that what you're telling me is illegal, right?" I'm sure he must have bit his tongue like, ouch. Why did I say this? So this is where El Rufai is to date. Once he was released by EFCC, he was taken in by the Independent Corruption Practices and Other Related Matters Commission, and then he was taken in by the DSS. This is where Nasir El-Rufai is at this point. He is on a chokehold with the security agencies. And right now, he's in a lurch because he's in an opposition party. Now, one thing about Nasir El-Rufai, he's never in the opposition. He's usually in the ruling party. When he was in PDP with Obasanjo, he was in the ruling party. He became the director of the Bureau of Public Enterprise. He became the minister of the FCT. When he saw that PDP no longer favored him, he left PDP and then went and aligned himself with Muhammadu Buhari when he was a candidate for president. Then he joined APC, supported Buhari. When Buhari now became president, he was now able to run as a candidate for the governor of Kaduna State and became the governor of Kaduna State. Now, when he wasn't able to become the Minister of Power and Gas under the Tinubu administration, he now left the party. The party is not favoring him. Let him join another political party and see if they can go back into power. And then he now gets that kind of notoriety again. One thing I noticed about Nasir El-Rufai, he's addicted to power. And when you have power, money follows. So that means you're addicted to money and power. When you are powerful like that, as an advocacy expert, I've been advising various NGOs, various agencies on advocacy strategies in terms of moving forward and working with stakeholders. Power is like water, is the ability to act. It's like water, it's like fire. If you use water right, you can have nourishment. You're able to drink water. You're able to drink spring water. You're able to drink tap water. You're able to drink different types of water. But if you misuse water, you can drown. Same with fire. You can use fire to cook. You can use fire to be warm. But if you misuse fire, you get burnt. So that is how power is. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So in the case of Nasir El-Rufai, when he has absolute power and he's being challenged, usually when people have absolute power, they don't like being challenged. And when he was governor of Kaduna State, he was being challenged like people like Shegun Nibinyo, like Professor Chidi Odinkalu, like Stephen Kepas. And he ain't like that. Who are you to challenge the Malam Nasir El-Rufai? Who do you think you are? And those three are just a number of human rights defenders and journalists that have spoken against him. There are some of them that have not been seen again. What about what happened with the 438 Shiite Muslims, the massacre that happened in Zaria? So these are things that happened during his administration as the governor of Kaduna State. What about when he was FCT minister? He was demolishing buildings like he was taking down Lego parts. He did that. Many tears were shed. Billions of naira worth of investments were crumbled. This was during his tenure as FCT minister. People are complaining about Yensum Wike. Uh-uh. Nasir El-Rufai makes what Yensum Wike is doing look like child's play. So this is where we are. And I'm reminded of Jeffrey Epstein. I know that is the global syndicate that is going on right now. But when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2017, he got away with it. But then in 2019, he was arrested again and his cup was full. And when his cup runneth over, it's alleged that he was unalived through him taking his own life. Some say there's a conspiracy behind that. So this is what I think is going to happen to Nasir El-Rufai. It's like his cup is running over and he might be a liability to the current ADC. What I do see with regards to the strategy of the ruling party is that they are weakening the political structures of their opponents. Right now, the money bags that are behind ADC, Tambua was taken in by EFCC and questioned. Malami is being taken in by EFCC and questioned. And now Nasir El-Rufai. So these are things that are happening right now in ADC that are trying to take in the structure from the foundation. But with El-Rufai, it's not just opposition politics that is going on. It is somebody's cup that is full and it runneth over. What are your thoughts on this? Let's hear it in the comments.